Oh, what was your favorite beer?
You know, what was that third one I had? Because I only had the two I'm familiar with, and the third one I forgot. The first one was the Paulaner Oktoberfest,
Yeah,
which I love. And the second one was the Shinerbach, which I love. And the third one was something.
yeah, that was the Marshall. We had two Marshalls. You had a in a
The one in the little cup I wasn't crazy about. The one
no,
in our Stein I liked a lot.
yeah, that was the Sundown Wheat, the fourth one. So that was Marshall's Sundown Wheat. That was a good
In
one.
the little cup
No, the big one. The third one was
in the
their
Stein.
yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Was the third one their Oktoberfest or something I can't remember. But yeah, I thought
And
it was okay.
I didn't find all of Felix's German beers, so of course we weren't there
Mm,
like the full 3 days. I mean, I guess if we would have been there, all day, we could have just searched for that. But
yeah.
well,
Well, and I mean, I sent you. You could have looked on that website too. They had all of them listed. So I don't remember seeing those on there because I looked at one point to see,
yeah,
skimmed it after you told me what they were. But anyways, so well, we're
I have
talking
to go
about
to Germany.
Oktoberfest. Hmm?
I have to go to Germany to get those.
Yeah, I'll have to go there someday. I was telling Corinne, her and I need to, um, in a few years, do a Rhine River cruise
Like
and
my
make.
sister's done twice now.
Has she really?
She just got back.
Oh,
Oh, she went to Switzerland this time too.
yeah. Oh. Well, we'll either, we'll start our vacation flying into Munich, or we'll fly out of Munich or something like that to do the full, the real Oktoberfest. So, but yeah. So we were at Tulsa's Oktoberfest. We talked a little bit about it. Had a great time. We'll talk a little bit more about it probably later in this video, as well as Paul will be putting together a video for us coming up here soon on our experience at Lindy's 44th Oktoberfest here in Tulsa. Um, I did go 3 days. Paul went 2 days. So
I had a football game to go to.
yeah, yeah, and couldn't get off work, right? So
Yeah,
yeah. So, anyways, well, as you all know, if you don't know by now, I'm Tex,
I'm Paul.
and we're fat guys on the road. We're working on an
Tiki
intro
taki,
video,
tiki taki,
y'all.
oi, oi, oi.
Woof, 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 woof. You'll get more of it later on. So as you can see, Paul and I are wearing our annual Oktoberfest hats that we actually got last year at the Oktoberfest. And I have my Oktoberfest Stein that they give you or you buy. I'm drinking a nitro stout out of it. So, um, and then on the top, we found this fun little local company here in town that makes these wood tops. Um, and we had it embroidered, but we had it punched with Fat Guys on the Road. So some fun little keepsakes. So, but let's get right into it. I'm pissed, Paul.
I know. I can't believe that little dog named Teddy Lehman didn't win the whole thing. Damn you, Chewy.
You know that's not what I'm talking about.
The Weenie Dog
Uh
races are awesome, but
Big
yeah,
12 refs, nothing new. I get it. I've been a Big 12 fan of a Big 12 team for decades.
not
But
gonna miss you at all.
my goodness. Did you hear?
That was a
So,
travesty.
so what we're talking about is the end of the Houston, Texas game. And Houston has the ball. It's actually second down first. And if you watch the replay, they get to the 8.5 yard line. But they say his forward progress was actually like at the 9.5. So it's 3rd and 1, right? Less than one. So we line up, we run it. You see the ball clearly at the 8.5-yard line again. Referees come out, mark the ball. We're in the middle of Hooters, and I'm yelling and screaming that they fucked up the spot. And they come out, and now Sark is asking for a measurement. And they have an injured player. And I'm like, why are you measuring? The ball should be half a yard in front of the marker.
It was obvious. Everybody saw it.
Freaking nation sees it, except for the T-sippers in Austin.
Oh, they saw it. They just aren't going to admit what they saw.
And they say, nope, Houston's a half yard short. So we got to line up for it. 4th and 1. Donovan Smith, who after the first quarter, had a great game. I had not seen him play that great the entire season. Receiver goes in, he throws an out route. And Texas is right there to intercept the ball. End the game. So I'm already pissed. I wake up Sunday morning and see this news article. And I'm like, there is no way this is true, Paul. There is no way. Have you seen this?
No.
The replay official. You know where he got his law degree?
Oh, yeah. You sent me that.
University of Texas in Austin. How is somebody in an official position during a game affiliated with one of the schools?
You remember that football game that happened up in the Great Northwest
Yes.
A couple decades ago?
Frick.
The
I
guy from Nike was sitting right next to the replay official at Oregon. Nike,
Unfortunately,
Oregon.
back then, if I remember correctly, that was the last year that the onside kick was not a reviewable play. And then it happened to us in Kansas State the next decade. We got pushed into the ball. Not reviewable.
You know what is reviewable? Field goals. They've got cameras at the bottom of the goalpost, for God's sake. And Texas Tech, last year, Oklahoma at the end of the game. And nothing. Nothing to review here, nothing to see here. Move along.
Right?
What a load of crap.
Get this together. This is unacceptable.
They're not going to. Why would they change?
I know they won't.
This is the way they've always been.
I know they won't. But my gosh. I mean, it's one thing to get the call wrong on the field. Even though it was egregious. It's another thing to tell Dana Holgerson, we're reviewing it. No, you're not. The replay booth is. Well, it's been settled. What has been?
That's how they roll. And my message to the new teams and the ones coming in next year, get used to it. This is the Big 12. I know. My message to the Hateful Eight, you deserve it. So.
I don't know. But I've been telling Paul since Sunday morning. I said, I got a rant. I mean, it's just, you're talking about the biggest game in Houston's home stadium since Texas played there 22 years ago.
Why is an attorney the replay guy?
Because he does this on the side.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was an actual official for a few years. And then he moved up.
That's all well and good. Why is he ever allowed to do games that involve his school that he went to?
To me, you should not.
I'm not just saying that about Texas. That's anybody. If it were OU, I'd say the same thing. I'd say that's not right.
And I would even argue
to be impartial.
I even argue you shouldn't be working for the conference.
Right. Go do it in a different conference.
So he lives in El Paso. Go do the Pac-12. Go do the Mountain West. Go do the WAC. Go do the Americans. Anybody other
in the Big 12.
The Big 12. I mean, it's egregious. I mean, it's downright. And whether you think the call was right or wrong, that is wrong.
Yeah.
And then to tell Holgerson that it was reviewed and the call was confirmed, there is no way that anybody with two good eyes, I don't have two good eyes. I wear
Me either.
glasses.
We both saw it.
And
Everybody saw it.
I'm at Hooters. Like on a little TV off in the bar area. Like they're not little, but anyways.
Mm-hmm. We should change the subject before both of our blood pressure gets too high.
I ran over. Let's stay in Houston. Hats off to University of Houston. 21-0 in the first quarter. And then just turn it on and all but come back. Get it tied at 21-21, get it tied at 24-24. My gosh, the guts that team showed me, and as hard as Dana Holgerson coached in that game, has me excited about the future. What we need to work on, to me, is how we start and the line.
They started, yeah. The line for sure. What do you think about the game against Kansas State this week? I mean, who knows? You know, all these teams in the Big 12, who the heck knows? It's just been crazy.
You know, and that's what
so
people keep saying is like, oh my gosh, we got to go Kansas State now. And I want to be like, welcome to the Big 12. This is what we asked for.
Yeah.
And I've told some of my friends that. I said, this is what we asked for.
Yeah.
You don't move to a Power 5 to going from playing Central Florida to playing Temple. That doesn't exist in the Big 12 anymore with Baylor. I mean, they're not good, but they're not what they were 20 years ago when OU won 21 straight games against
I think all four of these programs, well, I can't speak for all of them. I'm not a fan of all of them, but maybe people drink the Kool-Aid, the national narrative that the Big 12 is not any good. Well, maybe they're better than you thought they were.
Well, and I think what you're going to see over the next 5 to 10 years is this conference being a top to bottom conference. You may not have a consistent national contender like
you don't have a superpower like Oklahoma.
Yeah, you don't have Ohio State and Michigan, the Big Ten. You don't have Alabama and Georgia and the SEC. You don't have what you've had the past 25 years in OU and sometimes Texas even in the Big 12.
Occasionally.
Yeah. But you're not going to have that. I mean, the only team
What's the word parity?
The only team that's close is Utah, and I don't know. I'm still not convinced on Utah.
BYU has potential.
Yeah, well, there's potential, but to be year in and year out, you don't know.
Yeah, I think there's potential there.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could, in theory, have a lot of cases where you have a lot of teams that just rotate every couple of years. That,
oh yeah,
that
is probably what's going to happen,
and it's going to take 2 years to get that team up to par, and then that third and fourth year of that team will dominate, and then the cycle starts over again. Who's next?
Mm-hmm.
Recruiting is going to be real tough for all these teams.
It's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure, especially for me without a dog in the fight anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be very entertaining.
I'll just say, keep your red on.
Take a drink.
I'll tell you this, what I'm looking forward to is those road trips. Should be,
yeah, I mean, it's going to be awesome.
Places
That's why we were doing this.
Yeah, this is why we're setting up for this. And, obviously you're going to the SEC, you're going to play the teams. And of course, the historic stadiums. But with the new Big 12, you're going to landscapes and venues that are some of the most gorgeous backdrops for games. or the most fun party scenes, or
But
on the
yeah,
top.
and like some of these stadiums are amazing in the history, and it'll be nice when we build this channel up to where people will pay us to go do these things.
Or sponsor us or offer
Yeah,
free things like so.
people sponsor our podcasts and have get some brand deals.
Yeah, yeah. You know, a lot of weeks I throw up a little backdrop. I'm happy to throw someone up on my backdrop, and
Oh,
uh,
absolutely. We
so
can even do little videos. Hey,
yeah,
look at this. Check this out. This is a
yeah,
product we love.
yeah. So you know, but we're not there yet. We're starting this. We're having a good time so far. We've done some great fun things this past. Well, it's almost. I mean, we've been doing it 6 months now. You know, consistently we've
Had
been
a little
doing it.
hiccup there in August, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
And the summer gets real busy for me as I spend a lot of time with family and traveling and things of that nature on my own. And I did take a lot of pictures and videos on my cruise. I just never had a chance to upload it and put it all together. I'm going on another cruise in December, so I'm thinking of doing a little splice between the two of them together.
I
Um,
showed everybody the beautiful state of Wyoming, so go check that out. It's in our
yes,
videos.
yep. And we've seen Colorado Springs. Paul posted that video last week, so if you haven't watched it yet,
Gorgeous.
it's a 7-minute video of our trip of Colorado Springs. And um, you know, we did Oktoberfest here in Tulsa this past weekend. And then a couple football games spliced in there. So
And we'll be, oh, I went to the softball game last night, OU versus Seminole State. That was a lot of fun. And of course, the outcome is about what you would imagine.
yeah,
But they're pretty good. They played
yeah,
well. And
yeah.
the cool thing was we sat by the family of the third baseman,
Okay.
and I was talking to her sister, me and my sister were, and it was really cool. And it's they told us they were from Wayne, and we said, "Oh yeah, we know where that is." And I said, "Bulldogs," and they were like, "What?" And we told them we were from Hilton, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we know Hilton because we play them all the time and stuff."
Yeah,
So it was really cool, and she made a really good catch. It was going over her head, and she jumped way high and grabbed it,
awesome.
and they were all excited. And I said, "Yeah, I like that. That makes me happy. That's cool."
You know, I'm thinking about the we talked about this last week about all the OSU players that have transferred down. Uh there
She looked good too. Like she fit. I was like, "She's got it, man. She's throwing smoke."
Yeah, there's a thread on one of the Facebook groups I am about OSU trying to figure out how to hang on to their running back currently. So don't worry, he'll transfer to OU.
It's not that far down the road.
No, he's dominating. I mean,
Wouldn't
he's
you rather
best
play in the SEC?
with an offensive line and a quarterback and receivers, and I mean,
Far superior uniforms.
that's the
Just
only
saying.
thing, unfortunately, right now that well, there's a couple other areas, but as far as offensively goes, that I'm worried about is the running game.
They
Um,
cannot play anymore like they played in that third quarter. That was atrocious.
no,
Unacceptable. You're better than
so
that. So much better than that.
yeah. I mean, and you look at, I mean, all this Ollie Gordon kid, and I'm not saying he is the next Barry Sanders. No one hear that, but the way he's running reminds me of that style. And I don't have an offensive line. I'm just gonna make you miss. And here's three defenders that are flat on the face of the earth, and your fourth defender finally got me down 15 yards down the field. So that's what we need. I mean, he's eighth.
He's coming
And
next year. His name's Xavier Robinson. He's at Carl Albert. He's a
yeah,
tank.
that kid's got some wheels.
And he's a tank.
Yeah. So, but the kid I'm talking about is Ollie Gordon. He's a sophomore currently at Stillwater.
Sorry, I'm waiting in here. I'm blind.
Okay. Um, he's rushed for 816 yards in 7 games. Best for ninth in the nation. Excuse me, eighth. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 Big 12 players that make up the top 8 nationally in rushing. We're no longer the air raid conference. Have you noticed that? I mean, it's been that going that way for a
Oh
couple
yeah,
of
I've
years.
noticed that for a few years. And they
Even
just
with
keep,
Lincoln Riley.
they kept saying there's no defense in the Big 12, and I'm like, you're not really watching.
Yeah. So we're seeing some and you're starting to see this around the country too. They're talking about it, is that the air raids, we're moving on past it. Defenses have figured it out. And in fact, I guess that was one of the things Sark said to Dana Holgerson at the end of the game in their little chat at midfield was, I can't believe you switched on me to a 3-3-5. He's like, well, and you kept saying that 3 down linemen. And I guess that was on purpose. But I guess he was just afraid if they had 4 down linemen that Texas's offensive line would have just. I don't know.
3's better? How does that make sense?
Well, that you move your 4th guy around, so you don't know where he's coming from.
You move him around because he's getting pushed all over the field.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, but we can talk a little bit about that game in Norman. That was surprising.
Well, OU is no different than any other team. They all have a game where it's a crapper,
Yeah.
And most of the time, they've lost those over the last, forever.
Yeah.
And everybody's been talking about how in the previous regime that would have definitely been a loss.
Yeah.
And last year it would have been a loss.
Yeah.
So they found a way to win, bottom line. It was ugly, but they keep showing all year so far that when the chips are really down, they get it done.
I watched a little bit of the huddle. Was it last night? Yeah, last night. And Gabe was talking about that. Gabe and Trevor Knight. We're talking about defensively, of course, with Toby. They were talking about defensively. You could probably count 4 or 5 plays where we just got gashed. And unfortunately, those 4 or 5 plays we got gashed, they were gashed big. But other than those 4 or 5 plays, I mean, we were good. We were great.
And they get to blow kisses and be, a horse's butt down the sideline. And was there a flag on that? Did you see a flag for that?
So there was a flag in the end zone. That's the one they flew through in the end zone. And everyone was upset.
On that play?
Huh?
Oh, he did get flagged, didn't he?
Yeah. Now, what I think when I've seen the replay, no one's ever come out and said it, because number 1 and 2 both got called for unsportsmanlike conduct. What I saw is they were celebrating the end zone together. So I think they called that, because otherwise, if you called the kissing, then the play should have been blown dead.
Right.
Where it happened. Well, not blown dead. The play should have been brought back to where that was thrown. Yeah, I mean, talk about, again, another proof of Big 12.
Yeah, we stopped them on the goal line stand, and he shouldn't have done it. It was dumb, but was it that bad?
What exactly did he do?
They're saying Cannon got in somebody's face, kind of like Ethan Downs did the week before or the game before. And so that kind of shows you too. If you do it to Texas, we won't throw the flag because we hate them too. But if you do it to a different, especially a new Big 12 team, well, we're not going to let you hurt their feelings.
Was it chirping? Is that all it was? Was we got in the face and chirping?
He was right in front of me and I didn't see it, but I'm not saying it didn't happen.
I mean, I was watching it on. No, I was out driving during that game, but I watched some replays of it, and I was just like, "What?" But but every time, if you go back and look at every single national championship team for the past. Pause for Paul figuring out Zoom.
Yeah.
I was just saying about if you go back, I
When will
guarantee
then be now? Soon.
the past
Sorry.
30 years and look at every national champion team, there's been at least one or two almost slip ups. So you don't go and just obliterate everybody every game. And you don't go obliterate everyone you should obliterate every game. You're going to have that game where exactly what happened this week, for whatever freaking reason, you come out asleep. I mean, the defense came to play, and then the offense was just out there going through the motions.
And for all of, and I'm one of them, people griping about the 2 missed field goals. Well, if the offense executes like they're capable of, we're not talking about 6 points. We're talking about 14.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what should have happened.
I talked about Houston, where I think they need to clean up. For OU, it's clear. It's the running game and the kicking game, special teams.
The
Now,
punting was great.
yeah, the new punter was doing pretty well. Did pretty well this week. But Zach Sanchez just
Who?
what's his name?
Well, he's been a while. That's a minute ago, man. You talking
Edit, edit,
cornerback? Woody?
edit. Huh?
Woody Washington?
No, the kicker.
Well, his name wasn't Zach Sanchez. My goodness. Zach Schmidt.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
That's what he said.
I mean, Zach Schmidt. I mean, I feel bad for the guy because he's out there trying. Just for whatever reason, it's not coming together for him. And gosh, we got what, 4 kickers on our team right now?
I think so. 3 or 4.
So,
one of them, Hang Time, was always putting in his video, Gavin Marshall, and I'm like, let that kid try. Young man, let that young man try.
Zach Sanchez.
Zach Sanchez. I didn't know he could kick. That's amazing.
Yeah. But I don't know. Got to figure it out. And
They will.
so either
It's
that
just
or
it's frustrating, but a win's a win,
yeah. At the end of the day, too, I mean, exactly, like you breathe a sigh of relief, and you never want a team to be looking ahead, but now that we
And
won that game, if we're looking ahead, I'm fine with.
was there honestly some underestimating UCF?
I think so. I mean, I
Because
talked about them having the third best running game in the league.
well, a team without their starting quarterback and a team with their starting quarterback are two completely different animals. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
So
So, I mean, it's where are they
so you
right
wanna
now? Rushing offense. Yeah, they fell to 5th. They were 3rd. So I'm okay with that.
mhm. You want to do your power rankings?
Yeah, you want to do that, or you want to do upcoming games of the week?
I looked at the top 25 and I was like, I don't see any upsets happening.
Yeah.
It looks
Uh,
kind of boring.
it is a sort of a lull week. Oh, real quickly, Tulsa, get your head out of your ass.
It's year one.
I know, but golly.
Year one's rough.
So
We know.
this week we're going to Dallas to play an ACC bound team. So
Still crazy.
but yeah,
I still haven't wrapped my head around that.
no.
And then all those teams wanting to leave the ACC.
Mm.
You get there and it's not the ACC anymore. At least
Houston,
these 4 teams got the Big 12
circa
with OU and Texas
2012.
in it.
I mean, we signed on to go to the Big East. And everyone's like, we're going to the ACC. Check yeah. And then the
Mhm.
schools that were the basketball powerhouses were like, we're taking the name. You can shove it. We're taking Madison Square Garden, which was smart. I mean, we didn't need, I mean, most of the teams in the American are south of the Mason Dixon, so Mason Dixie. So is what it is. But games of the week. I mean, I think the big one for across the country is Oregon at Utah. I mean, that's ESPN College Game Day. So,
So there's a strangely interesting one in the SEC. Neither one of them are any good, and it's kind of what makes it interesting is Mississippi State at Auburn, and I have family that'll be pulling for both sides.
okay.
My new brother-in-law will be pulling for Auburn, and my niece, who is in law school in Mississippi, not at Mississippi State, I'm not sure they've got one, but she'll be pulling for the Bulldogs. So one of them's got to win. Neither one's very good,
Yeah.
but
She's
it'll
pulling
be
for
interesting.
Mississippi State.
Huh?
Why is she pulling for Mississippi State
Her
then?
boyfriend went there, and
Oh,
she's
that's
been to
right.
games there, and
Okay.
we're fond of that mascot
Okay.
in our family. So
Yeah. Well, we got some cruise friends, and that's who we're going on our cruise with here at Christmas, and they're big Mississippi State fans. They're in Pearl, Mississippi. So,
Pearl, Mississippi.
yeah. And of course, right now, any game that I don't have a dog in the fight, Mississippi Leach and the Fighting Leechers. I mean, in his
Your sword.
uh in his loss this year, it's left a mark.
That is rough. That is
So,
rough. That's really tough.
We didn't cover it because I didn't get to see much of it, but I know when Houston went out and played at Texas Tech, that's when Tech honored Leach, his family returned, which was great. I mean, to see after the animosity between Leach and that school. I mean, he still was wrong, done dirty, and he should have gotten paid, and they should have honored him when he was still living. But it's his wife went, his kids went. They said good things, and they felt blessed to be honored. And so, as a fan, that's all we need to care about, right? How's his family reacting to it? And
yeah.
so, I mean, he changed the game. I mean, he came from the Alabama system, but he was the first.
He was an American treasure, man. That guy was awesome.
But you look.
He should have had a YouTube channel.
Yeah, that would have been something else. So
right.
But anyways, like I said, for me, the American game of the week is, when I say American, country, in the country, not the conference.
Okay, gotta clarify.
Sorry, is the Fox game at 2:30, Oregon at Utah.
Yeah, that one will be good.
And it's in Utah, but and they pulled off a nice win. I just don't know if they can do it without Cam Rising.
Yeah, and apparently they've got a bunch of guys hurt, and I don't know if they've got enough fuel in the tank to pull that one off.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, obviously it helps.
They played tough as nails, and they're extremely well coached. I've got a ton of respect for Utah.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they've got enough in the tank for this one.
No. There's one other top 25 matchup, and it's it's Duke at Louisville. Neither one of them have impressed this week. I guess a big game in the Mountain West is Air Force, a rivalry game against Colorado State.
They're going to stomp a hole in Colorado State, and I'm going to love it. Go Falcons.
Yep. And maybe the Fighting Stoopsies out in Kentucky can pull an upset over Tennessee.
That one did, that one also intrigued me. I think they can win that one.
Yep. But the rest of them, top 25 should win. As I skim through here real quick. Ohio State goes and plays at Wisconsin. You never know. Wisconsin's a tough place to play at night.
First year coach.
Yeah.
It's
Tulane goes and plays at Rice.
Rice
could
win that.
Rice is sneaky. I mean, they got JT Bennett as their quarterback, and so Big 12, there's nothing really to highlight. OU Kansas is probably the biggest game in the conference this week, although you do got BYU traveling to Austin.
They said the game time temperature for OU Kansas and Lawrence, 38 degrees.
Oh, snap.
And they said it's going to be in the 40s at most, and it's going to be rainy and miserable. They were talking about that on the radio, and I said, that sounds like the West Virginia game last year. I hope it goes better.
Well, they're
So,
going to have their quarterback back,
no,
but
when did you see that? Because everything I've seen said it's going to be Bean.
really,
Yeah.
I, oh,
But they could be saying that and then throw out the other guy,
yeah.
surprise.
Which is what I mean. That's what you do when you play Oklahoma. You don't. You try to get any leverage, any type of quote unquote leverage that you can get. But um, OU I think will beat Kansas. Um, in the weather, it could be a slow start. Um, it's a sorry, I'm trying to see the spread on it. I assume the matchup predictor is 87.3 at OU on ESPN. We're favored by 10, 65 over under. So, I mean, you're looking at their 40 to 30 game. I don't think we're giving up 30 points.
As long as we win the coin toss, everything will be all right.
That's true. We
That's what
lost
Teddy
our
Lehman
first coin
says.
toss
And
this
last
year.
week we didn't against UCF. We didn't for the first time, and look how it went.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
guess he's right.
Yep.
You got to win the coin toss.
Although we won the coin toss against SMU, and that's the other thing. This game reminded me a
That
lot
one
of.
wasn't as bad though. It was rough, but it wasn't as bad.
Yeah. I think we win. I think we hold Kansas to under 20. I think the defense is going to come ears pinched back and ready to pounce. I mean, I've seen a lot of KU fans throwing out this coyote looking his chops, and I'm like, you guys are stupid.
After last week, do you know how hard they're going to get practiced? You know how
Right.
much they're going to get yelled at? These guys are going to be mad.
Yeah.
They're going to knock the crap out of Kansas.
So
Like,
the game that I'm intrigued by is BYU at Texas. Ewers is out for 3 to 4 weeks. Um, grade 2 ACL or AC sprain. Um, now a lot of people said this Malik kid is maybe better than Ewers, more well rounded. We'll see, but
and why wasn't he starting?
yeah, well, because Ewers isn't a bad quarterback. It's sort of like why Jackson Arnold's not starting. Um, it's I don't know.
He's not Jackson Arnold, but I see
No,
what you
no,
mean.
no, 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 no.
It's an
Of course
experience
it's not.
thing.
Hmm?
And you trust the more experienced quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. You do. So, Houston goes and plays at Kansas State. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Um, it's also a rooster kickoff. Uh, Kansas State 17-point favorites on the at home at Kansas State. Um, but they're having quarterback problems going back and forth too. They've won 2 straight and they look pretty good against TCU, but I don't think TCU is.
Who
I mean,
knows?
yeah. So
Big 12 is crazy.
I'd love to see Houston get to 4-4 on the year. Go into November, their final 4 games being needing 2 for a bowl win. I don't want to have to win 3 out of 4, but the schedule aligns to that we could if we have to. But I the way Dana's had those guys playing, and as long as we're using the Texas momentum and what we did well to build off of, as opposed to worrying about we played our best game of the season and walked away with an L. Well, you played a top 10 team in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And you walked around with the country saying, I mean, Dana came out and said, had we gotten that first down, and I don't know what this play is. I don't know. He calls it his horns down play. He goes, that next drive, we would have ran horns down and went for 2 and won the game on a walk-off. That's coach speak. That's Dana speak. But And I mean, that was the question my buddy Wayne and I, we were watching the game, asked each other was, does he go for two? And Dana, yes, he goes for two. That's what he does. He goes, I lose for two. I lose on a 2-point conversion going into overtime, or I lose on a 2-point conversion in overtime. It doesn't matter anymore. Like, there's only one overtime where you don't have to go for a 2-point conversion. So, with this new gimmicky rules. So, what do you think of the OU Kansas game, Paul?
I think they'll play a lot better than they did Saturday, but they'll need to because they're playing a better team. Last time we were up there, holy smokes, it better go better than that game did. That's for sure. I think they're going to be really focused and, like I said, kind of mad, at themselves. And I think they'll execute really well. And I think not taking anything away from Kansas, they're extremely well coached. But I think OU will probably handle them fairly. 10 points is they'll beat the spread.
Yeah. I mean, if they absolutely should. So, the next, and then that sets up Bedlam for the following week, which I've heard from a lot of OSU fans. They think they're just gonna get slaughtered, and so if OSU fans think they're getting slaughtered,
I wish I felt that way. I don't think OU's going to lose, but it's going to be a pain in the butt. Because it's Bedlam. For so many years, it should have been a butt kicking, and it was way too close.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to miss them because I don't need the stress. When OU beats OSU, everybody moves on with their life, business as usual. When OSU beats OU, can I go on vacation for a couple of weeks and get out of the state? Because they just don't shut up.
No.
Like they won the Super Bowl.
It is theirs.
Well, it's pathetic, and I'm tired of it, and I won't miss them.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like why people talk about like why Texas doesn't play Houston non-conference up to this point. It's a lose-lose. You beat them, you should have. You lose to them,
oh yeah.
So,
one of these days, I'm going to have to tell the story of the first Bedlam game I ever went to.
Yep.
I didn't like him before that, but
Paul, maybe a video for next week to do on the side of the podcast is OU's history with the Big 12 team or the Big 8 teams. Next week will be the last
OU
game.
and the Seven Dwarves.
Next week's the last game against one of those guys in Oklahoma State. After that, we play no more of the Hateful Eight. West Virginia's in there and TCU, which are Hateful Eight, but no more of the Big 8 schools. So we only played 3 of them this year in Iowa State, Kansas, and Oklahoma State. But
so on this topic, I'm gonna plug a radio station because I'm gonna get this shirt. The KREF shirts that say so long and thanks for the trophies. I will have one of those shirts.
Yep.
That's a fantastic shirt.
Yep.
That and Danny's Texas shirt.
Yep. That was classic. Absolutely classic. I think mine have shipped, by the way. So they should be here shortly. But I think that'd be a fun video to do is over OU historically against each opponent. Now, what's cool is we can end it with we're going to meet back up with one next year.
Missouri.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yay, we get to play them again.
Exactly. So, and we're scheduled to play them next year up there, right?
Yeah.
In Columbia.
At Missouri.
So, at the end of their Big 12 run, they had a good team. I mean, they made it to 2 or 3 Big 12 championship games. Of course, we blew them out in both, but
2.
Should be fun. It's just, and that's sort of why you never know with Kansas or Oklahoma State, because this is the last time they'll be playing us for years to come. Um, so, but Tulsa, like I said, is playing at SMU Slaughterhouse. Hate to say
It's
it.
year one. Just be patient.
Well,
He'll get them there.
um,
I passed, or yeah, I passed a University of Tulsa bus on I-35 coming back into Norman today. An old F3, it looked like about an E250 Econoline van. Tulsa University of Tulsa all over it.
yeah,
So
probably just a academic trip. SMU is favored by 21. Doesn't shock me.
yeah,
Um, they're what's their record? 5-2. Um, they slipped against, well, not slip against OU. They got beat by OU. And then they got beat by TCU. So two Big 12 teams. How SMU lost to TCU, I still don't know.
rivalry. Yeah,
But
I mean,
so
crosstown rivalry and
yeah,
cross metroplex rivalry. What
yeah.
do you call
Well,
that one?
yes, it's Iron Skillet. Battle for the Iron Skillet. So you asked me a little bit ago for the power rankings, so I can cue that up. You can cue up my power rankings noise. Whatever that might be. But 14th in the basement because of a loss to the team that was above them or just below them last week. So Cincinnati is at the bottom of the barrel. They haven't shown me nothing. They had, yeah, they haven't showed anything.
Life in the
UCF,
big leagues is rough, man.
the what?
Life in the big league is rough.
Yeah. And they're the team that came in with some instability, a new coach, new
Yeah,
players.
first year, that's fair.
It's tough. I mean, if you look at UCF and Houston, they both have former Power Five conference coaches. And UCF has a very successful former Power Five coach.
Yeah,
Highly successful. And Dana was something, he was successful. I mean, he wasn't great, but he was good. He was a run of the mill Big 12 coach. So
and he was an assistant in the Big 12 for a long time.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
He was in Stillwater for a year, and then he was in Houston for 3 before that. But before that, he grew up under Mike Leach out in
Hmm.
Tech. So
So they
yeah,
both knew what they were getting into.
yeah.
They had kind of an advantage there.
Um, so right above you, Cincinnati is UCF. They just continue to lose, unfortunately for them. Um,
Much, but they're going to start winning though if they can keep their quarterback healthy.
they can.
That was a different team Saturday.
It was. Um, so maybe we'll see them start creeping up. 12th is Baylor. Um, not much to say there. There's some people that think Baylor's starting to turn it around. I haven't seen it just because you beat
Show me.
Cincinnati by 3 points. No, that's not how this works. So above Baylor is where I have BYU. They were bye week this past week. No, they beat Tech. That's what it was. They beat Tech.
Yeah, they did.
So sorry, I thought I got confused there for a sec. In fact, they won pretty well, 27-14 at home. So played well from what I've seen and read. So good win for them. So an argument could be made for them to be above this next team. But they're not because I'm a homer. I got Houston next at 10.
At least they're honest.
I like what I saw.
They played well.
We played the toughest opponent on our schedule, no doubt about it. Now the second toughest is this weekend, going to play at Manhattan. And Dana, I think this is coach talk. Consider Coach Klein doing the best coaching job in America right now. I don't know about that. He's a good coach, great coach. Don't get me
Very
wrong.
good.
I just don't know if I'd say but I think, like I said, I think that's coach speak and keeping your team humble is a lot of what that is, and all that. Right above Houston is Texas Tech. Again, their wheels came off against BYU out in Provo. Eighth, I have West Virginia. They're sliding. And we talked about this 2 weeks ago, that the reason of the spread being so close against Houston, and then they lost to Houston, but that was because more national pundits and the bettors, the sports books felt West Virginia was playing above who they were, and that might be coming
It
true.
appears to be correct.
So we'll see. Neil Brown's back on the hot seat out there. So we'll see what they do. This team will continue to slide. In fact, they probably argument could be lower. Is TCU at 7? They suck. They'll make a bowl, but they're not very good. Now I messed up on this next one. Who am I missing? Hold on. Who am I missing? 6. Hold on. I doubled up.
Put the beer down.
6 is Iowa State. Actually, I'm going to put Iowa State at 5. I'm going to put Oklahoma State at 6. So 6 is Oklahoma State. They keep winning. There's no doubt about that. They got a running back that, like we talked about earlier, is just chomping everyone up. And definitely can make a name for himself. So at 5, this is interesting. The top 5 teams, well, 4 of the top 5 teams, Paul, are all from the Big 8, the original Big 8. So 5, I have Iowa State. Talk about other teams, just keeps winning all of a sudden. Ever since they came, I mean, they had a bye week, but ever since they got throttled by OU, they've won. And they didn't lose this last week, but they didn't play either. So that helps. Above them at 4, I have Kansas. Still a very good team up in Lawrence. I mean, every OU fan is not worried, or not being worried. Every OU fan is worried of what could happen. We just expect us to play our game. And they've talked about that. That's what they've talked about, is we don't practice for who we're playing. And that's what a great team does. You don't practice your opponent. You might tweak
scout them, but you work on you.
Yeah. I mean, you might tweak in or throw a different scheme look or things of that nature, but nothing different.
We have to keep our technique and our fundamentals sharp.
Yeah.
Mentally strong.
And if you're changing up the way you play your game every week, no wonder you're never going to be good. But anyway, so they're at 4, Kansas. 3rd is Kansas State. No surprise. Again, a team on the rise. Another team that they're 5-2 on the year, 3-1 in conference. So they just keep on trucking on. This might change this week. Iowa State may all of a sudden be in second place if BYU, the Fighting Mormons, go in and upset Texas and Austin. I think Texas is ripe for the picking.
Yeah.
I was listening to a UH podcast last week. A guy was talking about every year for the past 15 years, Texas plays somebody they should beat, but don't. And it's somebody that you're like, it's not like, it's like Kansas going in 2 years ago with 1 win on the season and beating Texas on a last-second field goal. It's that type of crap. Not crap, glory.
But it was funny. Of course, that's been happening to us too, to OU. And they had the game Saturday and they found a way to win it. So,
yep, that's true. And then, of course, at the top is still OU. they keep winning and looking good at winning. Even when it's close, they look good. We have areas we can clean up on. I mean, oh, talk about Nick Anderson.
Guy's a monster.
He's
You know what he's going to
big.
be next year? The SEC better have talent because Nick Anderson's coming. You know, you, you better have somebody back there.
I mean, he's just tearing it up. Drake had a great day.
Well, for the most part, you can't tip a ball to the other team.
Well, true, but Farouk sort of quiet, but I think he had a quiet, nice day. Well, no, he ended up with over 100 yards, or was I can't remember. Doesn't matter. So
Yeah, I can't argue with any of that. Just like I always say, and it keeps proving true every week. Who in the world knows with this conference?
yeah, I mean,
What in the barnyard is going on around here?
Gavin Freeman had a good day. Some solid yards, I thought. It's just that wide receiving core. That's where you think at some point in some game that running game is going to open up just because of what our receivers are doing.
It started to at the end there.
Yeah.
Major and Sawchuk were gashing them at the end.
Yep.
So, but the offensive lines has had injuries, and Tawee Walker was suspended for a game for in practice shenanigans.
Well, suspended for
So,
2 is what I heard, right? He's
huh?
out. He's out this week too. So it's what
Yeah,
I heard.
maybe.
So 2 games. So could be wrong. But tip kickoff. That's at 11. So that's my power rankings for the week.
Yeah,
Anything
sounds good to
else?
me.
We're both pretty quiet in our adventures this week. Neither one of us are going to be going anywhere or doing anything.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks ago, one, so I'm just gonna kind of chill.
Same here. And then actually the following weekend, you're not doing Bedlam, right?
I'm not going to Stillwater.
Okay, yeah, and I don't. It looks like I'm not going to go to Baylor, Waco. I don't think I'll be able to make it this year. So, um,
Start saving up for the Big 12 championship.
yeah, yeah. Keep our fingers crossed, but there's that. Of course, the other player on the defensive side, probably the Bednar winner this year.
Butkus winner, yeah.
So,
Old Danny.
Danny Stutzman just tearing it up again. 12 tackles, 1 for loss, led the team again. So just the tackles for loss this week. What was it? 13 for the
Yeah,
team as a whole? It was ridiculous.
but then they give up those big plays, and it's like so frustrating.
It is, but I mean that's clean it up. You're not always playing the running game we played. Of course, given that touchdown, that 86-yard touchdown to Javon Baker is not acceptable. But
Especially when he's going to blow kisses to you. Classless.
should have knocked him out. I'm gonna end. Well, I don't know if we're at the end, but I
Yeah,
don't
we
want
are.
to forget.
Yeah,
I don't want to forget to mention the Texas Rangers going to the World Series, baby.
I was wondering.
Ah!
You're welcome, by the way.
What?
So last night they won it last night, right?
Yep.
You know where I
Yep.
was sitting when they did?
Where?
OU softball.
Okay. Okay.
Championships on the diamond.
We're hosting the World Series. We know that. We don't know who we're playing. Phillies are up in the top of the 5th, so almost halfway through the game. Phillies are up 2-1. But we host whoever we play. Actually, no, sorry, D-backs just scored 2-2. But Rangers won 11-4 last night. Garcia just owned them, absolutely just owned the Astros. Don't piss him off, and y'all did. And I know he pissed y'all off, but
That was crazy. I did see that. That was crazy.
So he came out those last two games and just smoked you. It was incredible to watch. It was a great feeling. It was one of those that, it wasn't close from the outset. We scored 3 runs in the top of the first. Now against the Astros, that doesn't mean anything. It's a long game. But they would get a run, we get 2. They get a run, we get 3. Like, just okay, fine. You're going to get your runs, but so are we. And here's an interesting fact: the Rangers went 8-0 on the road in the postseason so far.
Wow, so far. That's impressive.
So
that's championship baseball.
Championship baseball. We have played since, what is that, Sunday? Sorry. I'm trying to get a calendar up here. The second to last Sunday of September.
And that's all we got. Goodbye.
I got 3 minutes left. So since September 26th, September 25th, we have played 4 home games.
Wow.
We've played 7 to end the season, 5 to start the playoffs. 4. We had 2 against Tampa on the road. We won. The first 2 against Baltimore in a 5-game series. We won in Baltimore, so that's 4. Went home for a game, won. Flew to Houston for 2. Then that 3 at home in a row. That we lost all 3 of those. So we got to figure that out.
Should have played them on the road.
That's what every Ranger fan was ready to be on the road, and every Houston fan. But Houston had a losing record. I think they were 40-46 at home this year. So it's pathetic.
Well, you can kind of predict what was going to happen then.
Yeah. So and they were a good team this year. They were a really good team. The Rangers are just
obviously, yeah. Look how far they made it.
And it's maybe I should talk about this sometime, as the owners in Dallas, how much of a difference Ray Davis is versus Jerry Jones and Mark Cuban. I mean, even when he got handed the championship, the pennant trophy last night, and was asked, he was like, well, of course he's like 80 something, but so is Jerry. He was like, it's a good feeling. We worked hard for this. My guys deserve this. My fans deserve this. Thanks for the opportunity.
That's good.
Yeah.
Classy.
So, and what's funny is here's an interesting story. We got a minute. We can wrap it up here in a sec. But interesting fact that no one's talked about: when he bought the Texas Rangers, he was in a bidding war against Jim Crane, who's now the owner of the Astros, but tried to buy the Rangers first.
He won them in a poker game. Oh, wait, that's Cattleman's.
He won them because of a copyright. Nope, that was the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So, anyways. But
that's cool.
All right. Well, good week. I had a fun week at Oktoberfest.
Oh, that was a great weekend.
Sports-wise was fun. We look forward to posting some more videos for you to watch. We now have an Instagram and Facebook. Fat Guys on the Road, so check us out there. Put up some good content from the weekend there, and just will continue to do so.
Keep your eye out for further videos on YouTube, and we're having fun, and we look forward to doing some more, and we hope you all keep watching.
Thank you for watching. Checking out. Go Cougs.
See ya.